and welcome to the God is a Geek podcast. My name is Adam Cook, and I'm here to introduce to you three fine gentlemen who are going to talk to you about video games. That's like as if you're listening to an introduction of a BBC news broadcast. With me, Chris White.
Hello.
You alright, mate?
Yeah, man. Not too bad at all.
Thank you very much for holding the fort down for me.
That's alright, mate. No worries. I've enjoyed it.
Okay. What were you saying? You've just had a nice...
I've just had a nice Sunday dinner, so I'm nice. I'm happily
really
full.
Glad that's the way you went with that. That's I thought we were going down a dark path quite early on.
That was this
Adam
morning.
Carroll is here too.
Yes. How are we doing?
Have you just had a nice Sunday dinner?
Sunday breakfast, really, more than anything.
Of course.
You know?
Yes, of course. In that there, Canada.
Yeah.
Of course. Gary, I'm sure you've just had a lovely, nice, bad opinion, right, Gaz?
Yes.
I've just had ice cream.
Yeah, he has, which we'll get to.
I had ice cream.
Ice cream. Okay. Was it good?
It was.
What flavour?
It was vanilla.
Oh, fucking of course it was, Gary. Of course it was. I don't even care if that's true or not. Jesus.
Perfect.
I mean, what an adventure you've had, Gary. But unlike, like Chris, who has also had an Adventure Time, Pirates of the Enchiridion. Now, I like Adventure Time. I've actually played a tiny bit of this game, and it was enough to not want to play anymore. But Chris went all the way through it. Chris, is this fine? I mean, I've read the review. This is a pointless question. I know the answer, but I'm going to ask it for the audience. Is this finally the game that Adventure Time deserves?
No.
Okay, right.
Well,
Adam and I have been... Oh, go on. No, go on, there's more.
I don't really want to... Because the thing is, if you like Adventure Time, you'll find some joy in it. If you don't, it's going to be nothing that you're going to want to play. It's just very light on all kind of RPG elements, and it's... but
there's a thing, right? So I played... I feel like I played an hour of it. Just to see what it was, really, because I like the show. I didn't see any RPG-ness. Like, reading your review, and you're like, turn-based, this, that, and the other. What? So, the game seems to take ages doing anything. Like, you get on a boat and you start moving around, and it's just going around on a boat from place to place. That didn't feel like. Let me rephrase this question then, rather than ask if it's a good game or not, because there is the review and we will talk about it. However, why the hell can't they make a good game based on Adventure Time? Like, everything.
I don't know.
Their series is like there's loads of game references in the series.
I don't know.
Got BMO, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think the writing always tends to be pretty impressive. It's very, because they get the writers from the show to do it, and the voice cast is always the same kind of voice cast, but it just hasn't transferred to computer games very well. And as much as this is the closest you're going to get to an Adventure Time experience in a video game form, it's just let down by boring kind of game mechanics, really. You get, towards the end, you get certain abilities, I guess, but you never really have time to utilise them. You could use the stuff you started with to finish the game. It's not particularly challenging. It's just a bit just bland, really. The gameplay's bland. It's still funny. I still enjoyed.
Like, that's not a word that you could ever normally associate with Adventure Time. Bland.
No.
Not even close.
It's really like, judging by what you review, it's by far not the worst game they've ever done.
No,
based on it. In fact, it sounds like it's probably one of the best ones they've ever. But
it is the best.
Even more disappointing that the best they can do for this series in the game is a 6.
Yeah. I mean,
it was a 6 you gave it, wasn't it?
I gave it a 6. Yeah. It's just like the combat. It feels very much like a JRPG where you're wandering around, and then all of a sudden, more the kind of more Persona for me it was, where you can kind of walk up to an enemy, and there's like a screen pops up saying fight. And then that takes about 5 or 10 seconds to load, which always just wound me up anyway. And then you go into turn-based. So as you go forward, you start off with just Finn and Jake, and then you get Marcy, and then you get BMO. So by later on, you've got a few characters on screen, but there's no direction as to whose turn it is next. It feels very all over the place. There's no counter with certain games like the Banner Saga, for instance, where you know exactly who's going to go next. So you never know really how to prepare for it the best. So as it's kind of straightforward and easy as they are, there's no cohesion in the fight sequences, and it just kind of you just do it to get onto to move the story along. You never like look forward to the battles, and it's just a bit just a bit dull, really.
It felt to me like, again, I only played an hour, and I felt like it felt quite janky. Like I found like there were lots of frame rate hitches. There were just kind of like odd loading times and odd loads that sort of felt like they shouldn't be there in a more high budget game. But like I say, the frame rate stuff on a Pro was a bit PS4 Pro. I mean, was a bit disconcerting. It's the same. Does that get better?
It kind of happened when you went into an area mostly. Like when you found a new area of it kind of did the frame rate drops, and then you were all right. But that never kind of goes away. Even when you go back to a previous area, it's always kind of there. And it's hard because they they released a patch on release day, I think. So I don't know whether that's fixed them, but it's we're given a product, we review it as it is. So it wasn't good enough really for release. You put it out there, it struggles certain points, and there's also certain points where it happens when you're in conversation with other characters, and you like someone will say something funny, or they'll lead on to like a joke with a punchline, but there's like a jutter, so it doesn't land correctly, and it just breaks the kind of mood a bit. So that kind of happens a bit there. But if it is fun, and like my kids, well, Evie more so because Holly's a bit young, but Evie's like 8, and she enjoyed playing it. So it is a good starting point for people that have never played a JRPG, I suppose.
So you say that, and I would ask, because I mean, again, my kids are a bit older than yours, and then the counter I would have for you there is actually by the same publisher that I think the first time one of my kids ever sort of was like, oh, I want to play that, and it was a JRPG, was Ni no Kuni.
Yeah.
And that's a well-made, good game. All right, it's not based on Adventure Time, but do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Is it good enough? Is what I'm asking, I suppose. Because I'm one of these that I firmly believe that kids are way smarter than people. Not people like us, but people who make games, people who make movies and TV. Like, I think kids are way smarter than they're ever given credit for, and I think they can recognise a shoddy product.
Oh yeah, no, I completely agree.
Because I don't think what I played was awful. I don't know. It's one of those things that really gets under my skin, because I feel like Adventure Time has all the hallmarks of what, like, they could make a great series, even if it was in the vein of like a Rayman Legends, like a platform game that's like that. I think that would be awesome. Yeah. With cut scenes from the the characters, because they always have the right voices. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's frustrating for me.
I think my girls don't play anything other than really Minecraft and Roblox, and that kind of
the horizons
stopped.
Changed since my kids were that age, if you know what I mean. Like now it's Fortnite, it's Minecraft, it's Roblox. Like they're the ones, aren't they?
Yeah, and I kind of think it's a good stepping stone to bigger games, because they're not used to all of this kind of stuff. So
right,
there are other things in it. Like, I don't want to put it down, because there are some smart ideas. Like there's this interrogation mini game that they have when they encounter there's lots of characters you'll meet and get to do this.
I mean, the first one's Ice King, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Ice King, and you'll have to get some information out of him, and you can play
Simon.
kind of good cop, bad cop, and you get a certain amount of tries. It's very hard to fail, but it's fun trying to get the information out of him, because it's funny. It's a funny show. It's a well-written show, and it's a well-written game. So there are some fun elements in those kind of bits. But just on the whole, as a game, it's about, I don't know how long it took, about 10, 11 hours to do. But I didn't do loads of the side quests, because lo and behold, they're the most basic kind of side quests. They're the fetch quests without any real depth to them. I didn't expect there to be a lot of depth, because it's not like a Witcher, is it, or an Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's just there. They're there. So I don't know. Well, I don't know who it's aimed at. I think it's aimed at everyone, but the majority of people who are familiar with that genre aren't going to bother with it, even just because it's Adventure Time.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned The Witcher there. The Witcher ain't, but Gary, I just quickly check in, because I know you've been playing The Witcher 3 because you're still actually impressively on your 4K HDR kick. Still a good game, is it?
Oh, it's brilliant. It's
okay,
and it looks glorious.
How do you find time to play a game this big and that old?
I don't know. I think I'm stupid, because I've also just restarted Dragon Age Inquisition as well.
Yeah.
So I think I am just an idiot, like a legit idiot that just does things he shouldn't do.
Fair enough. I mean, you should be playing an RPG. Go on, Ad, sorry.
No, I just think, like, to answer, like, going back to that kind of a game such as The Witcher, I just think it just shows how good that game actually is, that it's worth going back, even though it's so many hours. Just seeing all the brief little tweets that you're putting up, Gary, and stuff, it's just like, that game is just so good. Like, its story, its lore, everything just makes me want to go back into it again.
Absolutely. So good.
It does seem to be oddly kind of RPG season, because while Chris is playing Adventure Time, which is an RPG, I mean, I've seen bits of the combat. I was going to say RPG light. I think I'd be doing it a bit of a disservice. Gary's playing The Witcher 3. Adam, you've been playing Octopath Traveler, haven't you? Finally, I should say.
Yes. So straight up, I don't think you spoke about your opinions really on this.
No.
Did you like talk about it on this podcast?
I haven't really talked about it anywhere. Like, it's such an interesting game, because there's we could probably do an hour-long podcast on this game. There's so much. Like, I've said, I think this is, for me, I don't mind this, but I think some people will be annoyed by how the story takes a bit of a back seat because there's 8 of them. I'm fine with it, because I feel like the combat is probably the most satisfying turn-based combat I've seen in a great many years. So there's no part of it where I'm like, oh, but the more story, because the story is there, it does come. That, you know, each chapter doesn't actually take that long. But of course, there's 8 of them for each character, and I can't remember, was there 4 or 5 for each? I can't actually remember. But basically, you do the character 1, chapter 1, character 2, chapter 1, and you go through everyone's chapter 1, and then you have to do chapter 2. And so I found that the way they presented themselves, it was the one character that I remember standing out was, I think you pronounce it Hanit or Hanit.
Yeah. That's why I went with the first time. That was my first
really?
character.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she was the second one I found, because I went with Ophelia, and I didn't get to do, because of the level requirements. So you think about how, in terms of time, like around about 2 to 4 hours in, you find your second, you get your second character, and that was Hanit for me. It was probably nearer 20 hours before I got to do her chapter 2, because her level requirement for some reason was one of the highest out of all of them. So, and I've actually found her sort of story quite funny because of all the forsooth begonnening and all that stupid language they use for her little place. But by the time it had rolled around to do her chapter 2, I couldn't have given a shit about her character. And that is, I don't know if that's randomised the way the level recommendations come up, but it felt weird that the second one I unlocked was the last one. I think it was her and Ulbrich were the last 2, like they were like level 27s for chapter 2, so it was quite high for me at that point. But again, I didn't mind that, because I found the combat just enrapturing, really. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I still have like 2 characters to unlock. What made you pick? What made you pick Ophelia first time round?
The blurb, oh Christ, it feels like a long lifetime ago. But the blurb basically suggested, I think, that she's a healer. I think.
Yeah.
That's something about her. Yeah. And I just always tend to go with healer. Now, I actually think she's a bad choice for reasons I don't know if I want to explain, because if you haven't got into any of the chapter 2 stuff, there's stuff, I'm pretty sure you could find it in chapter 1. But if I say to you, like, the job systems, would that ring any bells? Because, like, she's really useful to begin with, because she's a mage, essentially, but she's a white mage in that she's, like, healing and in the traditional job sense. And then you later, again, I don't know if you've unlocked the character who's essentially like a spell mage, an arc, you know, he does fire attacks, and Cyrus, isn't it? But there's a thing you can find, in fact, there's 8, I think 12 total things you can find, which drastically change how you manage those jobs, and that rendered her for a good few hours completely obsolete, because I had other people who could heal. I'm trying to dance around it as best I can.
I know.
I'm trying to dance around it as best I can.
I know.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Is it okay, so it's not a real spoiler, is it?
No, it's not. But at the same time, I'd avoid it.
So look, I'm going to ignore your advice and I'm going to say what it is, but it's a very minor spoiler. It's nothing to do with the story. It's mechanics. So every character has a job. Like Ophelia I think she's a cleric. I think is her actual job. And she does white magic, like I say. And Cyrus, I think he's a scholar, and that allows him to do like cast fire, ice, that stuff. There's a thief who can steal, and they've all got each of the classes. But you can that's their class. Like Ophelia is a cleric, Cyrus is a scholar. There are optional areas you can find which give you the ability to give. There's one of each of those classes you can find again, so you can find a cleric class which you could then give to Cyrus. So now he's a scholar and a cleric, which means he can cast healing and damage magic, and he's very good at both, which meant my choice as Ophelia, as a character who is always in your party, kind of screwed me over. But I don't know if that works the same for every other character. And eventually the thing is I found the thief class and I gave that to her, and now all of a sudden she's got those two jobs, and it makes her back important again. But those jobs are kind of, I don't want to say side quests, because you just kind of find them if you're searching the world. And I would recommend you do that. Like, there will be guides, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's one thing I will say, speaking of like the side quests and the story in general. Like, a lot of people are saying it's very much kind of your typical like JRPG stories. To a certain degree, yes, I do think they have similar beats, but like I'm really, like, a lot of people are bashing the likes of Primrose's story as being completely generic, and I'm totally the opposite on it. I think like it's super dark, it's pretty gripping what's going on in it. I think the stories are handled for the most part very well. However, one of the biggest issues, and probably one of the... Okay, straight off the bat, I actually think this is probably like my favourite game of the year so far. Like, I'm super, super, super into it. And but the one main criticism I can give is I really dislike how they don't have all characters interacting with each other. And when I know there's small areas of text that you can have, but I mean within the world, once you're on that story path, you're only on that character's story, and there's no real connection between. No other character wants to get involved, basically, with another person's situation.
Yeah, it's a bit odd that they've kind of just all met up and just are happy to go on these adventures together. Like you say, there are the Fire Emblem style. You press the plus button, the pause button, and it gives you like a little dialogue between two people who are in your party. Yeah. But it's like you mentioned the side quests. Like, I think the side quests are pretty poorly done in this because they're all very vague.
Oh my god, they're so vague.
I found... So there's a tip I'll give people, basically. They are incredibly vague. Always have one of the following in your character. One, someone who can... find out information, so they can either scrutinise is one of them, where you have a percentage chance, and inquire is the other one. That's one of, but two characters have both got similar skills, and the other one is either steal or barter. So like I've forgotten the name of the character, the travelling salesman kind of woman.
Tressa, I think her name is.
Yes, Tressa. So she can buy stuff. She can buy the inventory that people have got, and the thief can steal it. And basically, almost every side quest that I can remember involves your path actions. So you'll come across a guy and he's like, "Oh, I'm so old. I wish I could get to this village." So you use Primrose or you use Ophelia to get them into your party as a summon. You then fast travel or go to the place they want to go to. You deliver them. That's the quest done. The other ones might be, I'm a fisherman and I just can't catch any fish. So you use one of the characters who can buy or steal, and you steal or buy some really expensive, nice prawns that have been cooked. Take him to that place and give them to him. It's got, wow, this fish. Well, quest completed. The trouble with that is you do what you end up getting into a route of routine of doing is basically you go to the village. Every character that you can interact with, you steal stuff off or and basically you inquire everything because they give you information. Like there's sometimes if you inquire someone by inquiring, you'll be able to get a better rate of thieving. So these things all link in, and essentially you'll end up with sometimes quest items for side quests before you've unlocked the side quests. And it's all a bit like it's fine, and I like doing it because I enjoy doing most things in this game, but I don't think the side quest system's very well fleshed out. Especially when the one problem I have with the path actions is that they've created this game where there's 8 unique characters and 8 unique stories, but the path actions repeat. Now, if you said you've got 2 left to unlock, so by now you must have seen that essentially there aren't 8 path actions. They are kind of variations of them.
Yeah. Like
Primroses and Ophelia's, it's the same thing. It just gives you a character you can summon. You get someone to follow you. Hanit and I think Obleric basically both let you fight someone. It's the same thing under a different name. That I found a little disappointing, that they went with this idea of 8 and then didn't or couldn't deliver on 8 unique path actions. Is that being harsh? I don't know.
It's not being harsh. I think it's very fair to say that, but I do think the actual battle system itself offers. It's so goddamn deep. Like it's pretty crazy how like there's that persona factor to it where we discussed that before. Like that's almost like a mini game in its own way. I will say though that like, what do you think about the capturing? Because not many people are discussing this part of the gameplay. It's almost like it's forgotten for some people, like the capturing of the monsters.
That's Hanit, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, you see, she was my most underused character overall, so not only did I forget about doing it when I had her, I didn't... like I say, there was a good, I reckon, 15 hours between when I used her, because you have to use her for her Chapter 1, and then I didn't touch her again until her Chapter 2. Like I said, I think there's a good 15-hour portion where I didn't even use that character, because the leveling system works as long as you've got a character that is the required level, you'll generally be able to get through. Because it's not an easy game, but it's not a super hard game either.
No, but yeah, I think the battles do get challenging, especially the boss areas, which is obvious. But like,
yeah,
there is quite a challenge within it, and when you're picking your party, sometimes when you're taking out the healer and stuff, maybe you like it's really like it can go either way without that healer, and it's really important to like plan the battle.
See, you've hit on something that I don't like about it, because I like most things about it, but I like that this is this kind of retro JRPG but brought into the modern era, but there are some hangovers still, like the fact that it's all based around elemental stuff like and weaknesses that you can break defenses with weaknesses, strong attacks that they're weak to. Like, Adam's weak to fire, so I use my character who can cast a fire spell to bring his guard down, break him, then I can inflict massive damage while he's sort of stunned. The problem is, when you hit those bosses, there's kind of no way of knowing if your party's the right thing. Like, you would assume, oh, well, since this is Ophelia's mission, she must be the one that they're weak to holy damage, not necessarily. Light damage. They're not necessarily. That doesn't always work the way, especially when you get into Chapter 2. And that, like, I did one optional boss. It was totally an optional dungeon, and I got all the way through to the boss, and I got to this boss, and there's a skill you can get which reveals weaknesses. So I revealed all its weaknesses. I didn't have a single character that could break it. So it took me forever to kill this character because I couldn't stun it and couldn't break its defenses. I just had to keep attacking for like half damage. And there's no way around that. There's no way of knowing. And that's... I don't know the design decision to how you change that, but that's the only thing that I sort of thought, I don't know about that. Everything else about, like I say, I love the combat. The combat
is amazing.
The fact you can sort of double, treble, and quadruple up your attacks is just... It's so amazing, because it's a difficult thing to describe in audio form, but like if Adam's weak to swords and his break barrier is at 5, but my break points are maxed, so I can hit him 4 times with one sword attack, or 4 sword attacks in one turn, I can tactically maneuver myself so that, all right, I know I've got 3 moves left before he gets a turn, and he's going to use his super attack here because it tells you the next turn. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this character to knock 1 off his break to get it down to 4. I'm going to use the next move to heal everyone up or barrier us or whatever, and then on my last attack, because I've got 4 break points, I can hit him 4 times in one attack, and I can knock him out into stun. I can break him. That stuff is amazing and so satisfying when it's a puzzle game at that point, isn't it?
I think it has a very Hearthstone influence. Like that's kind of like like breaking down their defense and stuff, and knowing that like if you hit them with the sword 5 times or 4 times or whatever, that's a Hearthstone element. I think and that's what makes this kind of gameplay very addictive and very rewarding, because you can see obviously who's coming up next on the battlefield, which is also really fun. So you can, when you get to know your characters, you can chain it all together, and it's so nice. However, I want to ask, right? I think previously you might have said maybe to me in a message that visually you love it for the most part. Now, I don't know if you remember that, but is there something that threw you off or something like that with regards how it looks?
I can't really place it. I can't really place what it is. I tell you what, I do think it's pretty poor that the game's got frame pace issues. Like, I don't know what the hell that's about. This game's an exclusive. It should not be testing the Switch's capabilities, and the fact that it will drop a frame here and there just in open world stuff is like, But no, I can't. I think it's because I hadn't seen it in motion, and everyone talked about it like, "Oh, this is just the most amazing thing." That when I played it, it's like, "This is a very nice looking game." Yeah, but I'm not like, I don't know. It's exactly what it says it is, if you know what I mean. It's very pretty, but like the towns, after a while, they are kind of the same. There are some interesting locations, but like, it's a very pretty game. It's nice. You never get bored of looking at it, you know?
Yeah, no, I was just wondering, was there a certain area that became...
No, it's nothing... It's nothing specific. I don't really know what it is. I think it's just that everyone's talking about it like it's, I don't know, like a God of War or Horizon level of impressive. And I don't think it is quite that. Like, I think other games do modern 16-bit. You know, I don't think it's a. I'm struggling to name some, but I'm sure there are some. You know, I don't think it's I don't think it's a new thing for games. I mean, Chris, Gary, jump in. Like, I don't know. I don't know if you can think of any games that basically take 8 or 16-bit retro, but make it. You know, it's not a new thing for old games. You know, a modern retro game. You know.
No, I mean, stuff like Shovel Knight did it very well.
Yeah, like, you know, Shovel Knight's a pretty game.
I'm playing one now, which I'm not sure if we can talk about, but there's a game out soon that's a perfect example of kind of 16-bit graphics with excellent gameplay.
Okay, I actually can't think what that is. That tells you a lot about the state I'm in at the moment.
There's
carry on talking. I'll look through and see if I can find.
Not
Savannah Saga.
Go on, Chris.
No, I've just left it. I've just put it in a message.
Okay, all right. But yeah, like it's not. Oh, that game exists. Yeah, you can talk about that game.
Dead Cells.
Yeah, Dead Cells is a game that exists. And
I know it's like been early access and that, but yeah. Anyway, Dead Cells.
We can't talk about it in a reviewy sense, but the game is
in a previous
it exists.
Sense, it's
been people have been playing it on PC for when I say people, I have been playing it on PC for some time, and yeah, we'll have thoughts on the final version of that game soon. But until that, of course, that is a great example of a game that's kind of retro styling, but it's modern as well.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like with Octopath, I feel like if you're that I was gonna say far, but you're not that far in, we're going to be talking about it for weeks to come.
Yeah, so, I'll be on about it next week. Definitely. I mean, I'm nowhere near finished it.
No, you're not. You're some distance, some serious distance off. Yeah, it's long.
Oh wow, fair play.
Like super long. I don't have my Switch close enough to check the hour count, but it's long. The point I remember the most is after the chapter 2s. I remember looking at it thinking, because I was reviewing it and I was thinking I must be close now because I've playing this game for forever. And I remember looking at the end of chapter 2s and I was like 20 something hours, and then that's not even near. because the game does have a bit of grinding in, and like when you hit the end of chapter 1, you'll see the level requirement for the easiest chapter 2, and you'll be like, oh, okay. Now for me that was about 2 hours of grinding, and so I just used it as an excuse to go and like explore the map a little bit and do that. There's also a skill Primrose has, which can I don't know if you've seen any of this, but she's a skill that basically does like random status effects, and one of them can be like, I forget, like 100 times XP. And so there are ways of save scumming the game, like stand near a save point, go into a battle, do that skill, it gives you 100 XP, great, save your game, do it again, repeat, or it doesn't reload your save. Do you know what I mean? Because that skill, the first time I did that skill, it gave all 3 of my characters silence and blind. So that was fun. I lost that battle. I think that's the first time I died, actually, because they were all silenced and all blinded by my own move. That was fun. Chris, I know you're interested. Before we move on, have you got anything you want to know about this game?
I kind of when the demo came out and we talked about it a bit on the pod, like with Adam, it looked very beautiful, and just the way you was talking about it was just, I've not heard that about that kind of JRPG for a while, so I was very keen on it. And then you know what happens when everyone starts talking about it on Twitter and they're telling you how good it is and stuff. I was very keen on it, but thanks to Mr. Cook for grounding me a little bit, I might wait wait a while.
Well, the trouble is, it's not going to come down in value because it's a Nintendo exclusive.
It's more the time. Like,
it's a long game, mate. I ain't
got long until as soon as it gets to like August the 10th, that's it.
Well, we're not far off Madden coming out, are we? Which is when shit hits the fan. Like once Madden's out, all bets are off, and it's not quite Persona long. Obviously, there's very few games that are.
Yeah.
But in your situation, Yakuza Kiwami 2's not far around the corner for review.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be a short game. And, like, where are we? We're in August then at that point, and Spider-Man's not,
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think Spider-Man's going to be a short game.
No.
I don't think Sony makes short games anymore, guys. There's a secret.
No, that's fine.
I don't think they make short games anymore. God of War was not an anomaly. Like Horizon was a long game. Bloodborne's a long game. Listen, when it's a single player game, fair enough, really.
Exactly.
That's good. I'd rather. I quite like short games, but I'd rather a long single player than a single player that's short and they force a shitty multiplayer on the end of.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
I forgot my question. In fact, I don't even think it was a question, was it? Octopath Traveler, very, very good video game. Adam Carroll will be talking about it, I think, for probably a few weeks more yet.
Maybe 2 more weeks, and then.
I said that about Horizon.
Yeah, it's not going to be the new Horizon.
Yeah, I know. Jesus.
Before we get into news, I wanted to just quickly give a shout out to Danger Zone 2, because I find this quite interesting, because Three Fields Entertainment are a studio made up of people who were involved in like the Burnout games. And I didn't like Danger Zone. I thought it was very clinical. Like it lacked personality, like really lacked personality. Danger Zone 2 has a little bit more, but it still feels like a game missing something. Like it feels like there's definitely talent at this studio, but this, like I know Nick reviewed and gave it an 8 out of 10, but like that's the beauty of opinions. We get to have different ones. It's nowhere near that for me. Like I'm not saying I think it's a bad game, but I'm not. I did a video of it for the site, and I think I said something. I actually think in the video I said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to keep playing this," and then when I literally clicked stop, I realised I'm never going to play this game ever again because it's again not this bad. It's just it's so. I don't think games can do what that game's doing anymore. I don't think they can be kind of just. This is our thing. This is what we're doing, and nothing else. I feel like it has to have a bit more to it, and I don't know that's. I don't want to be unfair and harsh on them because they are a small studio. They put a message in every video game they release that says we're a small studio. It's just one of those where someone asks you, oh, what do you think of that Danger Zone 2? You sort of go, it's all right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't have any strong feelings about it.
It's just over the top for the sake of being over the top. I think they took that mechanic.
I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's over the top enough.
Dude, like the gameplay I saw of like the truck going down a motorway, and honestly, as soon as it tips any car, those cars are in a different country.
Okay.
It is just like...
Yeah, to be fair. But I actually like that. I
it's
like
so
that.
over the top in that sense.
But they need to take that and then apply the Saints Row logic and just go, hang on, right, so we've got this. How could we... What about if when you hit that car, the car literally flies to the moon, but you turn into that car, and now you're in space hitting spaceships? If you're going to go down that route, you know what I mean? Nowadays, you have to... Like, that's one of the things about like Saints Row 3 and 4 that everyone loved. Like, they were just ridiculous. Because if you pull those games back and they... Like, in fact, think of Saints Row on the whole. If they go down... there's an intersecting route where they could go left and carry on being a GTA-like game, whereby they get decimated because GTA just does it better with a higher budget over and over again until there is no more Saints Row. Or they go the route they went, which is to just go completely batshit, do their own thing, their unique, ridiculous, crackdown, insanity-style thing, and everyone likes it. You can't... I don't think you can be middle of the road unless you're the very best middle of the road. There you go. That's that. Let's talk some gaming news. There's a lot of it this week, but a lot of it's very quick hits. And I think a lot of the things I've put down on this sheet are kind of maybe one person on the team here is going to be interested and maybe the rest aren't. But let's go with it because that's the news. We're not all interested in everything. Stardew Valley, hands up or maybe voices up if you're interested in Stardew Valley multiplayer.
Yeah.
Oh, thank fuck for that. August the 1st, that's coming.
Sorry.
It's all right. Because it was in beta, I think, on PC, wasn't it? And now it's August the 1st, that's coming. Have you got it? What do you play it on, Adam, and why are you excited?
The Switch. I got Stardew early this year. Did it only come out on Switch this year for the first time? I can't remember. Or was it last? Either way, I only bought it this year. Thinking, do you know what? I got it on sale. How will I get on with this? I love Stardew Valley. I think it's an absolute joy of a game to play if you're ever feeling a bit poo-poo. That's all I can say. And the multiplayer aspect of it it's a long time coming. I hope it works. I hope it works well, and I hope that I hope it isn't too late. I don't know if it is or not. I don't know how many people are still playing this game religiously, but like, I hope it just isn't too late.
I think it'll be fine. I'll tell you what, we can go from too late to early because PES 2019, the demo is coming on August the 8th. Now I know at least one person other than me that's excited about this one.
Very much so.
Do you know what? As someone, I won't talk about football for long, but as someone who is very into football in as much as I coach youth football, my team actually won a tournament this weekend. Just gone, I should say. I'm very, very happy with that. That was the first time they've ever done it, and it made me a bit emotional. I don't mind telling you. Anyway, after the World Cup's finished, where it's like, I mean, Adam, I know you're not a football fan as such, but like even you said about how you were aware of it and you were checking results, but like, it's football overload. So for me, while I'm in it, I'm like, this is the happiest I could possibly be. I literally come home every day and there's football on, and then I have a little break and there's more football on, and then sometimes, because it was the group stages, there's more football on, and I was just like, this is hog heaven for me. I'm so happy. But then it goes away again, and even though that the time it ended, there's like 4 weeks until the Premier League starts, I'm sat round bereft. Like I'm like, I need football. There's no football happening. Like, I'm looking at friendly results. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm like, there's some football. So that I found myself booting up PES because, as I said the other week, I'm reviewing that Samsung TV. So I thought, what game? I'm going to put some good-looking games on. I put PES on, and I put FIFA 18 on. I had a go on both of them, and I'm like, this is great, but. You know that it's actually later than usual. I think Chris is the only one who will know what I'm talking about here. But there's a period where you just don't play the old game anymore.
Yeah.
You're ready for the next one. There's a point where you look at the cross-media bar or your Xbox dashboard and you go, time to delete that one. That's never getting played again. And I've hit that, and now I'm desperate. And I don't like playing PES demos because they make that wait worse.
It's not too long, though, I suppose.
No, it's the end of August. It's the earliest one's been for years.
Yeah.
They've also announced some My Club stuff, which is going to be a bit niche, because if you're not a PES fan, it's going to be... My Club is their kind of their take on the Ultimate Team stuff. And the changes, I would say just go and look at the trailers, because the changes are small, but they are user-friendly, I would say. And speaking of user-friendly... Oh, sorry, Ad, go on.
Before we go on, I just want to chime in there and say that I'm actually quite excited to play this demo, because I've said it before in the podcast that I actually bought 2017, and I am like just not a football fan, but I played that game so much. I think they're really, really well made football games and a lot of fun. So I'm actually like quite excited to give the demo a shot.
I saw a little bit of hate because some of the stuff appeared to leak over the weekend just gone, and there was like some shots of the menus and stuff, and people are, oh wow, yeah, you took a year to round the menus off so they're not square anymore. It's like, do you know what? Shut the fuck up, because I actually think if I were in charge of these games, something I would do every year is come up with a new UI in terms of the menus, because when you play a game as much as a sports game, when you put in 200 to 300 hours of a sports game you love, the next one, if the menus are all different, they really help add to feeling like a fresh new experience. So I'm fine if they've spent a bit of time making those menus, as long as the game itself has also moved on. So there. 2 Point Hospital, a game I think most people are cautiously excited about because it's essentially a new theme hospital game. Surprise announcement, the game is coming out on August the 30th, right next to Pairs, basically. Excited, chaps?
No.
Yes.
Oh. I thought this was going to be one of those feel-good moments where everyone was happy.
No, I've never really got into theme hospital, so...
Gary, you shocked me.
Said with absolute conviction.
I can't tell where the meme ends and the Gary begins now. This is getting too much.
I can't tell that anymore, Adam.
No, I
have no idea anymore.
But so this is 2 Point Studios and Sega Europe. They've announced the release date, but it's also because someone asked, I think in our Discord, is it coming to consoles? I don't think they've announced it. It has. I suspect it will eventually, but basically for now it's PC, macOS, and Linux, and 10% off Steam and Sega approved retailers. So, Christ, I'll try again, Gary. Let's go to you for this one. I mean, Jesus, I'm batting 0 for 4 here.
This isn't going to go well either.
Oh, God. Spyro Reignited. Do you know what? Fuck you, Chris. Spyro Reignited Trilogy will have a toggle to switch between the original and remastered soundtrack, and a new trailer has showcased a new theme. I was hoping someone would be excited about this, because I remember this. We talked about this in the pod. Spyro games were fine, but I don't think this is going to sell as well as Crash did still.
No, but for me, me and my dad, when I got my first PlayStation console, it was around when it came out in the UK, early on, and he got me Die Hard Trilogy.
Oh, what a game!
Yeah, and
is that all right, guys? It's Die Hard Trilogy, okay?
Die Hard Trilogy, brilliant.
So when
to us yet.
when I would go to school or whatnot, he'd play.
I just like fucking killing people. Sorry, Chris. Sorry, Gary, Chris, everyone. Sorry, everyone. Sorry, anyone from Manchester.
Say, I don't even know where that accent was from.
It wasn't good, mate. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so he'd kind of sneak in and play on the PlayStation, and we started to play together, and we played through Crash a lot, and Spyro was the game he adored, and we played that together, so I'm very keen to play it now and show him, and, I love Spyro a lot, and I'm very, very excited to kind of see it again. If it's done in the same vein as Crash, then, yeah, definitely.
I think it will be. I just don't think there's quite the... Because Crash didn't have that button, did it, to switch between?
No.
Oh no! That's interesting, because the theory, well, not the theory. The fact about Crash was, I believe, they literally used the Skylanders engine to recreate the game based on some old code. So that sounds like, I'm guessing they've done the same here. So how the hell they've managed to make it so you can just flip between the two is it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is. I've not seen many games do that other than Wonder Boy.
Halo, one of the Halos did it.
Oh yeah, Halo did it. Yeah.
Wonder Boy is rare.
It must be very difficult to do though. So I'm not surprised.
It's essentially running not two engines, but two somethings. It's running two of them because it's pretty impressive design work. This news is weird because there was an interview or something where I forget who, but someone at Nintendo said, "Oh, we're not done with Mario Kart 8," and I got massively excited. I was like, "Wow, wait, what? After all this time, we're going to get some new tracks?" Well, no, we're not. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe update has added Breath of the Wild Link, Master Cycle Zero, and some more. We've got Link in Champion's Tunic, new tyres, ancient tyres, and a glider called the Paraglider, basically Zelda stuff. And there's some revisions to improve the gameplay as well as some content that we've not got listed. Weird?
Yeah, I can't give a shit, to be honest, because I don't play. Well, there's a reason because when you play Mario Kart, I very rarely change who I'm going to be. So
yeah, you play as the character you play as. Yeah,
I'm Toad. I'm never playing as Zelda. Like
Toad Club Unite.
Yeah, even when I try him, I just don't like the handle of him. So no, it's fine to look at, but that's about it. I'd rather have a few new tracks or anything.
Just one.
Yeah,
just one new track.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah.
Adam Carroll, as a Nintendo super fan, do you not think this is for one, odd timing, two, kind of what, news? Like what's why?
It's just random. I think it's just keeping Mario Kart alive on the Switch. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know where Mario Kart sits. Mario Kart 8 anyway sits right now amongst families. Because if you is there groups of people still meeting up? Like the days of Double Dash and stuff, and all sitting around and playing Mario Kart.
I don't think so.
God,
is that still happening? Probably not. I don't think it is. And
I wouldn't think so.
I think Nintendo are just maybe that is the case, and they're just dishing out free content, and they're like, here you go. I do think you're right. The tracks, I think, give us more tracks, and that game can keep going and going and going forever. You'll never have to make another Mario Kart game if you just keep giving us new tracks.
No. Yeah,
that's straight up it. Because 8 is
true.
8 is the essential Mario Kart, but Double Dash is still my favourite. But as of right now, more tracks. That'd be because you're right in what you say, Chris. You never change your character. I played as Link when it first came out, and I was like, cool. I was like, that's cool.
Does Gary? Does Gary play as Bowser?
I'm one that plays as anyone.
Oh, Gary,
I'm the same with fighting games.
You've gone too far because nobody plays as anyone in Mario Kart. I play as Toad or Yoshi.
I suppose if I was to pick one that I'd play more than most, it's Luigi.
I mean, that was the question, Gary. Thank you.
But generally, I'll just pick anyone at random.
But Luigi, if you were asked, which you were, right? Look, bollocks this, Gary. I've saved some stories, right? I am 0 for 5 with you. This one. I think it's from Comic-Con, but Marvel Spider-Man, limited edition PS4 Pro bundle and PS4 Slim bundles announced. The internet, Gary, has gone crazy. They cannot believe this PlayStation 4 that you can buy right now if you want has been painted red with a spider put on it. Gary, go, Gary.
But why is it a fucking glossy one? Why?
But what? It has to be, or it looks terrible if it's not glossy. That would look awful in matte.
They could do it as a matte one and still make it look good.
I don't like the matte ones. The glossy ones are easy wipe, which let's face it, everyone likes easy wipe.
Fuck. No matter what you do, they get scratched.
Look. We're having a laugh, okay? I have to ask this question because I don't understand why people go. Listen, don't get me wrong. I want one because I like shiny new stuff. But, however, once it's all said and done, that PlayStation 4 will go where my other PlayStation 4 is, which is inside the entertainment unit that I never look at because I'm playing a game.
Yeah, I get that. But then again, I bought the...
Go on, Gary. No, go. This is good. Go on.
And say I bought the Halo Reach Xbox 360 because that looked cool.
Okay, Gary likes this.
Yeah, it's a nice,
stick
it's
with
a nice
Spider-Man.
enough console.
No, go with the Spider-Man. Keep with the Spider-Man thing. Go to your happy place. Spider-Man. We've also got a new trailer at SDCC, which is San Diego Comic-Con, isn't it? With the third pre-order suit, third and final pre-order suit in the Spidey suit pack. I'm very excited about this game because I feel like Sony's first-party efforts are generally exceptional, and when a Spider-Man game is good, they can be very good, right, Gary?
Very good. I've not watched this new trailer. Just purely because I'm sold on it now. I don't need to see any more.
Same. I think the E3 was it E3 where they showed like the intro area where there's all the bad guys in there. Yeah. That kind of. I wouldn't even say I was on the fence. I was already in, but that trailer kind of finished me off, for want of a better phrase.
Yikes!
Yeah, I didn't mean it like that.
I did.
Okay.
Web fluid everywhere.
So hang on, Gary. Is this? All joking aside now, like, is there anyone here who this isn't like higher top there? Because the whole kind of Madden thing that everyone talks about, it's kind of snuck up on me this year. I saw someone tweet, "Oh, Madden's out in a couple of weeks," and then it all kicks off, and I sort of went, "Oh shit, it really is, isn't it? We're about to hit it." And I started looking at games. And it's like, oh my god, we are talking Tomb Raider, we are talking Spider-Man, like
Tomb Raider.
Well, yeah, like we like.
Don't get me started
we're talking
on
PES,
Tomb Raider.
PES, FIFA. Yeah, Forza Horizon, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, like
Red Dead,
Call of Duty, Battlefield, Red Dead, Hitman 2, Fallout, Just Cause.
Oh God, yeah.
We are barreling into it, but Spider-Man, I think you have to almost take Red Dead and pop it into a little separate category because it's almost like, look, we know it's coming out. Let's just pop it in a little cupboard until we can play it now.
Everyone's
we all
getting
know.
that, aren't they? Really? Let's face it.
I think so.
Anyone over 18, let's if we're
and some under. Let's be honest.
Yeah. But yeah, everyone's buying Red Dead. I kind of tend to forget it most of the time. When people are asking what games I want, I'm like, yeah, is this, and this, and like, oh, you're not buying Red Dead? It's like, well, yeah, but
well, yeah, of course I am. Like,
yeah,
they should almost give it away free.
Yeah, you don't really need to answer that you'll be buying it because of course you are. But
because I think you and I, Gary, Spider-Man and Forza are probably, yeah. I mean, they're the two that really. Yeah. I'm obviously. I mean, like, again, for me, FIFA and PES are in that same Red Dead category of like, there's nothing you could say that would stop me buying it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I suppose Forza is like that for me, but it's still that. I mean, when there was the poll that we put up on Twitter, what people want, or what people are buying next, or what the one that they're looking forward to most, and I picked Spider-Man even over Red Dead because I really want Red Dead 2, but Spider-Man
definitely over Smash Brothers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Christ,
yeah, Spider-Man just looks so good, and like the first party PlayStation stuff just is genuinely excellent. So sort of more of that. Maybe this won't be. Maybe
Detroit
it'll be
is
shit,
the outlier.
True, but I've not played that. I'm only going off.
Don't, Gary.
Don't worry, I won't.
Good, please don't. Chris still hasn't either, which is surprising, right? You still haven't played Detroit.
No.
That surprises me.
We mentioned it like the last time. It's literally God of War just killed it for me. I still haven't found that game, and that's where
it's not
Spider-Man.
Detroit, mate.
No, that's why Spider-Man's going to fill that hole.
Well, look,
nice and good.
Lastly this week, Adam Carroll. How familiar are you with this game? I know not many people have heard it, but I know that you keep your finger on that button, so you'll have heard of this tiny little indie game. It's called No Man's Ski Yogurt? No, No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky, I think it's called. Have you ever heard of it? It's a small game.
It's been around, I think. I've seen one or two pieces about it.
I think it was in early access, wasn't it, on PlayStation or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, they've properly shown off the game with a, I think, shot-for-shot remake of the original trailer, revealing not only is the next update that is also called Next, thanks for that, hello games, going to include multiplayer, but also a third-person camera mode. I'm trying to not be too excited, because this actually looks like the game I envisioned it would be when it first came out. So the new multiplayer mode, team up with a small group of friends to explore the universe together, or join with random travellers online. Help friends stay alive, prey on others, build shelter, because obviously they updated it with building mechanics, so you can build bases. You can race in your cars, that you got little space moon cars. Third and first person, choice between that. This could be what we all wanted it to be, right, Adam?
I thought the trailer looked great. Straight up. I really enjoyed the look of the trailer. And I want to try it. And I think like a lot of credit has to go to Hello Games, because they truly still believe in their game that they were trying to make. And this seems to be it, as you just said. So like I'm really keen.
Everyone else?
Yeah.
Gary? Chris?
Yeah. I actually went back and played a bit of it. Like
I'm trying
this past
not
week.
to.
So, well, I've not played it since. I think it's before the very first sort of major update.
Okay.
So
Which was the last one where they added cars? Because that's when I last played it.
I think so.
Might have been around the time they added sort of the 4K stuff to it.
Yeah, and it's like it's good fun to go back to, and I like that they've got the creative mode as well now, where you can just dick around and just relax.
Yeah.
Which that game is kind of perfect for if you just want to go and explore planets without having to worry about dying, basically. But it's nice to go back to it. But
yeah.
I am very much looking forward to seeing if Next is as good as it looks.
Yeah.
I mean, I was one of the people that I loved the game anyway. I
think most of our site did. Like Chris gave it an 8?
7.5.
7.5. Okay.
7.5.
You liked it.
Yeah. I think when you think about what the game actually is, like for example, we're all in a party and we find a planet and we land on the planet. And we're like having a look around. Oh look, there's a funny looking weasel cat. Oh great, yeah, I can see that too. Oh look over there, there's a big otter that looks like a bird. Oh cool. What should we do? Don't know. Should we just walk around?
Well,
yeah.
But now you can base build and you can race in cars and stuff like.
But what's the point without any kind of resistance? I just don't get it.
But no, there is. Yeah, you could be literally PvPing. Like another group can come and fuck us up.
So have they taken away the fact that when they first released it, they said the chances of you meeting anyone are slim to none because there's billions of planets? Like, because that's what I keep thinking. They always said. I know they've said a lot of shit in the past. But, like, are we ever going to meet anyone? Because they're telling you you're not. Like, that was the main drive for me to get so excited for the first one.
But they've also said, like, say we party up, us four, once you're in that party, if you want, you can just piss off to another galaxy. But you're still in the party.
Right.
So, I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. You make a good point. But then also that said, if us as a party are building a base and doing some stuff and selling our black market wares to the spaceship people, do you really want to constantly be having other people come in and destroy your base?
No, not constantly, but I like the idea that there's a threat around just in case.
They do say that. They literally say you can be like a pirate or not a pirate, so it does suggest that can happen. So if there's like a thing that's like gives you like a bit of information on another planet, if there's so many people on that planet, it will tell you like, oh, there's two real players here. There's this gang of outlaws on planet Huge Bollocks.
Yeah, that's one of my planets.
Yeah,
I named the galaxy fruit and veg, and there's two big balls and one big long planet.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Yep.
I don't know.
I think that's as good a time as any to move into listener correspondence, isn't it? Let's be honest. McPoo on Discord says, "Do you have any games that you really enjoy, even though everyone else finds them boring?"
I think mine's stuff like Project Cars too. I love it.
I can imagine some people would find that very dry. Well, no, it is very dry, I think. But I guess I'm one of those people.
It's just I think racing sims in general, they can be very boring to kind of everyone outside. You know what I mean? Like it's not like Burnout or Mario Kart where you could kind of watch it and just like, this is just ridiculous action all the time. It's. I suppose it's the same as anyone who doesn't like football going watching or trying to watch.
Well, I was going to say PES or FIFA
or whatever. So, yeah,
because I love them. But I would also like. I mean, it's the same argument, but it's not true because they're popular. But I'd say Fortnite. There's a lot of people who sneer or sort of look down on Fortnite because it's boring or whatever. But I like it. So I don't know. I can't think of any particular game like that. Chris, Adam, any games do you like people find boring?
I've got one that you find boring. You and Gary always are mean to me about, and that's Shenmue. But that's all I want to say. I don't want to talk about it.
I don't think Shenmue's boring. I think it's bad. Sorry, there's a.
Right.
Sorry, mate. Sorry, I just want to clarify that I don't think it's boring. I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say like the Musu games, because I know you've reviewed a few, but I'm not sure that you're actually that big a fan of them either. If Nick was on here, he'd say that. I think he likes.
Yeah, I think 100%.
I find them games unbelievably boring.
I think there's one in a million where it's actually really good. A lot of them just very similar. So yeah, defo. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of another one, if I'm honest. Terrible. I don't know if Adam, have you got any?
I don't have any games as such, but I have like a group of friends who would look at the fact that I love looting in games. Like I just love organising gear and stuff in games, and they find that very boring. They just go, why do you spend so much time doing that? And I'm like, because it's like, my OCD is skyrocketing and I have to fix this. Like, that's...
See, I feel like I'm in that camp. Like, I feel like, again, if Mick Fraser were here, he'd say, like, Destiny, which I just find boring. I find that game just boring. Like, the shooting's good, but everything else about, so that's the opposite end of the question. I can't think of one that I like, because I guess I don't know what other people find boring. I mean, I'm literally looking around at my shelf of Amiibo, seeing if one jumps out to me. Do you know what I mean? No, I really can't think of one. And the trouble is, I used to look at my shelves, but now everything's digital. David Ayres says, what's the one game you always wanted to play but never found the time to play? I'm going to just say I have played it, but I would love to one day finish Persona 5, and that's probably never, ever going to happen. So
mine is probably just forever Battle Chasers, because I never seem to get back to playing that bloody game.
Yeah, fair. Chris, Adam?
I'm going to say just every online game in general. I just don't have time to ever play online. I think after Diablo 3, that was it. And then Monster Hunter World kept me in for a bit. But
Same.
like, I just, the time, I don't know, there's something weird when you know it's not going to end, you feel like your time is precious. So I don't put it all into these online games.
I suppose in that respect I would add Overwatch, because I mean, in fact, you know what? No, I'm not going to say that, because there's a question coming up with the same answer as Overwatch. So, Chris, have you got a game you always wanted to play but never found the time to play?
It's not so much. I have played it but never finished it, and BioShock. So,
right, yeah,
I still don't know what happened. So I still need to do it. It's just finding the time.
I reckon you should stream it.
I think so too. Yeah, just get it played, even if it's just the first one.
To be fair, that's how I managed to get through Bloodborne. I streamed it, and it kind of forced me to play it, and you kind of, because you had didn't have many viewers, but the few that were there, it was kind of like, I don't want to disappoint them. I want to just keep playing it so they'll get to watch. Not that I'm sure it wasn't that interesting, but yeah, it does help. Right. It does help.
I've got a reason to play it.
Yeah.
So maybe I should. Yeah.
Chris Hyde wants to know, what score would each of you give Super Mario 64 out of 10 and why? Now,
Jesus Christ.
Is that, now, what would we give it now? Or what would we have given it at the time? Because I think at the time, most people gave it a 10. So I don't think that's the question he's asking, because it's kind of... I think if we were reviewing it now, I can't remove my experiences of it, so I would still give it like an 8.5 or a 9, I think. It's not my favourite Mario game.
I'd go for a 6.
A 6?
Yep.
Yeah, I'd give it a 6 if we're reviewing it now.
Its controls are awkward, its camera's dog shit. Some of the worlds are fucking awful.
Oh, shit.
Moving on.
Yeah. Just that game.
I'd give it an 8, I think. 64. It's still a terrific game, I think.
I'm on 8 as well.
I literally played it recently, because after finishing Mario Odyssey, my youngest wanted to play Mario 64, and he did. We played it together, and yeah, there were issues, but I still think it's a fantastic game, and I don't think you can just forget how much that game did for a genre. Apparently Gary can.
But I wouldn't knock that. We wouldn't.
You just have.
We wouldn't have that. Just pretty much the genre as it is without Mario 64.
We wouldn't have Ukulele without it, Gary. And that's true.
There's a...
Yeah, you're right, 6. Yeah. Dane says you have to give up every game you own and you can't buy any more. You can keep one game, but it'll be the only game you ever play. What do you keep and why? Why does he want to hurt us?
I know.
That is it. For me, I think it's an easier one because I like sports. So I think I would pick... See, this is difficult. Do we get to go online? Because I think...
Yeah,
I'd say that
with Pez, I play offline Master League and I will play it forever and be happy forever. If we're talking with online access, I might be tempted to the dark side of FIFA because of Ultimate Team. But then saying that, once everyone else goes on to the next FIFA, that market knows Pez. It's Pez. because I would never get bored of playing the best Pezzes. Or it's Overwatch. Again, if we get to keep online.
I would have said online would be kind of part of it, because someone could choose World of Warcraft.
Why would they do that, Gary?
Well, yeah, but if they did, it's an online-only game, so you couldn't
but
take
eventually
online
they'll
off
release
the
a new
table.
one and it will die.
They're never releasing a new World of Warcraft.
No, they're
They
not.
just I think they're giving all expansions.
People just stop.
All expansions are free now.
Yeah, but hang on, Gary. What would you pick though?
I think it'd either be Skyrim or The Witcher 3, because I could explore those worlds forever.
Oh,
I mean,
could
I suppose
well,
you know what?
you could
I
only
would go
play
for
The Witcher 3 forevermore.
I would go with Skyrim because of you've got mods as well with that.
If you're allowed online.
You are.
And you're
You've
taking a
already
gaming
established that,
PC to the desert island, are you? Then no, you've not
No.
said there's a desert
No,
island.
because you take the Xbox One or PS4 version.
Okay,
You've got mods.
all right. No, okay.
So I'd pick Skyrim.
Okay, Skyrim. So we've got Pez and Skyrim. Chris?
GTA 5.
Yeah, okay.
GTA 5. I could happily, even if there wasn't online, like the amount of times I want to go back and play it all through again, like it happens a lot. So I could easily play that forever.
Fair enough. Adam?
Yeah, I'm with Chris. That was my answer.
GTA.
It's GTA 5. Like I did think The Witcher 3. I did think Breath of the Wild, but I was like, there's just enough. There's just way more fun to be had in GTA, all the time. So I just think that would be a good one.
See, I actually think if we can have online, I would take Overwatch, because they do add characters and they do add maps and they are constantly evolving that game. So, yeah, I think maybe Overwatch. John Legg says, I picked up a 3DS today with Mario Brothers 2, Pokemon Y and Lego Batman for £10. Hang on, has he said he got all of that for £10?
That sounds that way.
I didn't read it that way the first time.
Which
wow,
is just,
shitting hell.
Yeah.
That's some deal. The question, though, is what is the best gaming bargain you have ever purchased? It's not that. That's nowhere near that, that's for sure. Wow.
I think my one's pretty good. I might have said this on the podcast, but I was given a GameCube with 4 controllers in pristine condition that came with Wind Waker, like with Ocarina of Time in it, Super Smash Brothers, Mario Kart Double Dash, like everything, Metroid Prime, everything you can think, Eternal Darkness, all of it for €10.
Whoa.
Yeah,
pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I did get one of
never
those,
happened
the Resident Evil 4 GameCubes. I got one of them for a tenner.
Oh, that's nice.
I paid £150 for a HD DVD player for the Xbox 360.
Jesus Christ.
I was desperate for one of those things. I was searching for weeks on end, and then I overpaid by about 80%. So
that isn't a bargain then?
It's not, but it felt like one at the time. It didn't. Actually, even at the time, as it arrived, I thought, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you back in HD DVD over Blu-ray? What's wrong with you? I still have it. It's still in the cupboard. I can't think of a single bargain because games are expensive, and I can't think of... I've tended to have been the other way around, where I remember selling... do you know what is a bargain for you? Lee Garber, who used to work for us, gave me a SNES with a load of games, and it cost me nothing. I don't think he even asked me for postage. He might have. If it was a £5. And I had actually never owned a SNES. I'd only ever played and borrowed them from my mates, so I have a SNES. This is ages ago now, but that felt like a bargain at the time. There's Mortal Kombat in there, Mario Kart. I mean, it wasn't a new console, but it still felt like a bargain. And it was nice because I'd always done the other way around. I sold my Dreamcast and all these games for like 50 quid, and I would have every retro console imaginable if I hadn't sold them all. So
I still think though that this question also goes for like games and sales, like digital games and stuff. Like,
but I can't remember any.
Like at the summer sale that just went on PSN, I remember seeing like Alien Isolation for five.
I mean, that's just disgusting. That's you're stealing from them.
That's what I mean. If anyone buys a game at that price online, that's a fucking bargain, and that is just like, yes, that's incredible. Like,
so
they count too.
I could technically add The Witcher 3 to mine. Because I bought it maybe 6 months after it came out for like 20 quid.
Was that the Game of the Year edition?
No, it was the start, because this was like before the the DLC came out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But so I mean, £20, and there was probably about 80 hours worth that I'd put into that before I even bought the DLC. So
The Witcher. The Witcher 3 goes for like crazy prices, online. Sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I did. Well,
it's like £15.
I did buy the Xbox version. On the Xbox sale for £14, and that was the Game of the Year one.
Oh fuck! Do you know what? That's you win, Gary. That's the win.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous bargain.
Well, hang on. Has Chris got any?
Not over in the last 20 years. However,
that's the trouble. I'm with you. I'd have to really go back to think of some.
I can remember when I think it was when the Merlin Premier League '94 sticker album was out, and my mate was severely addicted to collecting the stickers. I was as well to a point, but he basically gave me Ayrton Senna MotoGP on the Mega Drive, Joe Montana Sports Talk Football, and something I think it was Golden Axe for 50p, so I could buy a pack of stickers.
Jesus.
So
not bad.
Joe Montana's become my favourite sports game ever. So that was, for me at the time, that was amazing. But other than that, I can't think at all.
Fair play. Last one this week is from Dale at Sir Delboy. What are your favourite memories of multiplayer gaming? Mine, he says, is a boozy summer evening. So I just painted him as an alcoholic there, didn't I? A boozy summer evening playing Super Monkey Ball, specifically Monkey Target Mode and Monkey Bowling, and laughing so much our ribs hurt the next day. I think mine, certainly my most recent one, would be the year Overwatch came out. I had a really bad back and was off work for some time. And so most evenings, the best I could manage was sitting on the sofa in my office playing Overwatch with a few guys from God is a Geek, actually. And the game was of a stage where everyone was playing it, and we had a full team every night, literally with people appearing in the party chat going, "Have you got a space?" "No, we haven't, sorry." and they would wait because someone would go, "Well, look, I'm going in half an hour." And it was literally like someone was leaving, they would tag the other person in, and we would just constantly... And I had a few to drink most nights because I was not in a happy place because I was really poorly. Excuse me. I should have drunk that Coke before recording. And you got to add a bit of humour in with the depressive stuff. No, and that was a summer where that game is kind of magic. We just kept rolling in match after match after match after match, and someone would leave, someone else would join. There were times when we had a full team and there would be 3 people waiting to sub on. Do you know what I mean? And I remember that so fondly, and I've not ever really captured that again since in terms of a regular multiplayer thing, because life gets in the way, I think. I suppose if you want to go a bit further back, there was a time my next door neighbour came round and we played Lemmings. No, was it Lemmings? It was Worms. Sorry, Worms, and he wasn't overly familiar with it. We were playing on the Mega Drive, if I recall correctly. Someone had put a landmine down, and I said to him, "Here's a thing for you, tap double jump." So which double jump makes you do a backflip. So he backflipped into the mine, and I laughed so hard I nearly shat my drawers. That was great fun. I think if I remember correctly, he got so angry he threw the controller in the bin. Great memories. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll go. I think it's just going to be Double Dash again. Growing up, I think there was an entire summer of us all going, no joke, around 15 of us going to one of our friends' houses, all sitting in the sitting room and just playing Double Dash all day long. And the beauty of Double Dash that no other Mario Kart has ever really done is they did something where, if you remember when you play it, it was always like the blue shell used to always come just about when you were going to go across the finishing line. It was like such a thing within Double Dash that was always happening. So when that would happen, you'd hear everyone in the room just shouting blue shell like crazy, losing our minds. And then that person got hit and they were just inches away from passing the line. And it's, to me, that moment is so hilarious when somebody gets just annihilated in Mario Kart, and they've been doing so well throughout the whole game. I'll never forget how fun all those moments were.
Fair play. Chris, Gary?
I think my first foray into online multiplayer was probably one of my favourites. It was Gears of War on the Xbox 360. I remember because the lobbies were well different back then, and trying to find anyone was difficult because there was no like clear servers. It was just so easy to get into a game now. It's completely different. But anyway, and it was the first experience I've had talking to anyone via a headset as well. And up pops this guy from Manchester, Gary. It might have been you. I don't know. But he had like he was like your typical. It was like talking to Liam Gallagher, and he was drunk as anything, and it was just fucking hilarious. Like taking on like the locust horde and stuff, and it was just like it just opened my eyes as to what online gaming can actually be, and like looking back at it now, we've come so far. But that whole Gears of War multiplayer was amazing. So yeah, I'll probably say
you should say that because I would add Gears as well, and we got so heavily into it on the forum I used to visit and talk about games, which is actually what led me to God is a Geek in the end, not this game, the forums. It's really fucking strange that you specifically mentioned the Manchester guy because there's a chap I know called Paul, and we played Gears of War a lot, and we actually fell out over Gears of War, arguing over host shotgun advantage, and we're fine now, obviously, but it's just so straight because he's from Manchester, so it's just strange.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Shit, or is it Liverpool? I've grossly offended him. Moving on. No, I can't remember, actually. I've genuinely forgotten. It's been so long since we played online, I've forgotten what accent he got. Maybe it's Gary just pretending all these years. Maybe Gary's everyone's Manchester guy online.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe not.
Any multiplayer memories, Gaz, before we move on?
I mean, I've got a couple. Me and my brothers used to play GoldenEye. But we'd play specifically.
And yet you like that. So you like that game?
Yes, I like that. Yeah.
God, right, okay.
But yeah, we used to specifically play like one-hit kills with proximity mines only. So it was basically just fucking random deaths everywhere, and we'd be in tears laughing over it. Another one would be. A few years ago, like me and a group of friends used to play Race Driver Grid online.
Yep.
And there was one guy who always, without fail, would smash up to the point of like terminal damage, basically. And we actually gave him the name Terminal Damage because it was every single race. But it was just
that's proper nerdy. I like that.
Yeah, it was daft. It was so much fun.
Terminal Damage. You online, lad? Hey, I like Terminal Damage. Is that better this time? Was it better, Gaz?
It's closer.
Thank you. It's I like that. It's not better. It's closer. I can't get your cadence, mate. You have a unique cadence. It's difficult. Oh, please tell me you were called Stickman or something, please.
No, I didn't get a nickname.
Stickman
I was just,
and Terminal
I'll be
Damage.
honest, I was just the one that won.
Gas.
Yeah.
Fair. Nope, that's fine. No one can disprove that. Even Terminal Damage, God rest his soul, cannot disprove that. I assume he's not really dead because that's some really poor taste.
No, he's not. He's not. It's okay.
Okay, good. Nice. I'm glad to hear. That is it for our podcast for this week. Thank you very much, Chris, Gary, and Adam. You have been wonderful as always.
That's all right. I haven't done anything anyway.
I think that's the first nice thing that's been said about me tonight.
Yeah, I mean, if people listen to the Patreon bit, they'll have literally heard me calling you a cunt. I didn't. Or did
you
I?
have now, though, so there you go.
Well, but kind of. No, vanilla Gary. Remember, always vanilla. That's the funniest thing I've heard this week, if I'm honest. I'm so glad that was on mic. Thank you so much. But thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate it. You know, there's no podcast if people don't listen. Thank you again for the questions this week from our loyal listeners, because the questions have been unreal the last few weeks.
They've been excellent.
Keep them coming. I'm loving the fact that there are some fun questions as well as some serious ones. We will answer any daft shit you throw our way. That's what we're here to do. Thank you so much. It really is so cool to get some, genuinely excellent questions that if we actually spent time and formulated answers properly, they'd even be longer answers. Thank you so much, though. We appreciate that. You can send us questions via podcasts@godisageek.com. You can come onto our Discord and send them. You can do @godisageek on Twitter. Us personally, if you want to send questions our way, hey, question for the pod, that's fine too. You can find us on iTunes, you can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Twitter. Just type in God is a Geek and it'll come up with all the good stuff. Do rate us, do review us, do share us. If you enjoy this podcast, make sure you share it. And if you do really, really like this podcast or any of the stuff we do, go to patreon.com/GodIsAGeek, where for $1 a month, you'll get like a load of bonus stuff, extra long podcast. This podcast is early every week and longer. There's a little extra section that only our paid supporters get as the premium podcast, if you will, our Patreon saints. They get those bits. We get early videos and a general insight into the goings on at the site, what's coming up, and we also like to ask those people, what do you want to see? We've got great access at God is a Geek. What do you want to see? What games do you want us to do videos on? That's where you'll get to have your say, kind of thing. Do that. It's $1 a month. I've been Adam Cook at GBSF on Twitter. The other guys, of course, here with me now. Gary is at BlueFury47, Adam's at AdamsOaks, and Chris is at FirstAvenger83. And of course, at God is a Geek is the all-powerful Twitter account that everything comes through. Thank you guys once again for being here, and we will speak to you next week or whenever you choose to listen. Bye-bye for now.